So we're at my kitchen at home again, and I wanted to do a show on how to make your own seasoning blend. It's been one of the staples in all of my restaurants. I have one particular blend that went from Greek seasoning and it evolved into this house seasoning. And I used it in my dressings, in my marinades, on my meats and seafoods and vegetables. It was good on cheese. Just had hints of this and that. You could never put your finger on it. And I want to show you how easy it is to put something like that together. So, I've got 48 spices and sugars and salts here. These are the ones that I use the most, and this is next to my stove all the time. I've got Greek oregano, hot curry here, fresh cracked pepper. I've got 48 things here. I've got pink salt here. I've got saffron. I've got smoked Maldron sea salt, the nice big flecks, kosher salt, sugar, ground cumin, dried ginger. And all these are bought from a reputable spice house. I like to buy my spices from the countries that actually produce it. This is a blend that one of the spice house makes. It's a hot curry. So this has got turmeric and cayenne and peppers and garlic and cumin. There may be a touch of cinnamon in there. I've got 2 different paprikas. I got sweet, smoky. I got white pepper. I got my fresh cracked pepper that I do in my mortar and pestle. That's clove. That's allspice, cardamom, coriander, mustard seeds. This is black cumin, which isn't as strong as regular cumin. It's a little bit more floral, lighter in flavor. Used a lot in Indian cooking. Fresh dried thyme, ginger, fennel seeds, cloves, cinnamon, brown sugar, garlic powder, garlic pieces. This is garlic salt. Okay, you can see it's just a little bit cakier. It has a little bit more moisture. I got onion powder, onion pieces. This is like what you would see pre-mixed at the store. It's a blend I made called steak seasoning, or a play off of the Montreal steak seasoning idea, where you leave the spices a little bit more coarsely cracked. This is no MSG seasoned salt. I got lemon pepper here. This is herbs de Provence. This has rosemary, basil, parsley, chives. That's like a herb de Provence. So that's, for French or Italian, Mediterranean type of food. Celery seed, crushed red pepper, cayenne pepper, and whole allspice berries. Basically, most of my food, I just salt and pepper. But when I want something a little bit special, I have a tablespoon measure and a teaspoon measure. For my house seasoning, I'm gonna want one of these, and I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use a pie plate here so you can see what I'm doing. I want some seasoned salt, and I want a tablespoon or 2 of my regular salt. Now, I've made this seasoning hundreds of times, so I already know the ratios. I want to put about a tablespoon of cumin powder in there, maybe half a tablespoon of white pepper. I want to put a tablespoon of paprika and a tablespoon of smoked paprika. And these are both sweet, they're not spicy. I want to put a tablespoon of garlic salt in here. That has the addition of other things like onion powder and so forth. I like to put half a tablespoon of the garlic. I like to use a half a tablespoon of the onion and the onion pieces. I like to use my steak seasoning, which has crushed red pepper in it, a little bit of coriander, some sea salt, black pepper. I like that blend with the coriander cracked in there. Now, I could do that from scratch, but sometimes I like to use a blend, okay? For my house seasoning, I'm gonna put about a tablespoon of black pepper, and I'm gonna roll that around. And because you can tell I use my grinder, that took all of 15 seconds, see? So now I've got my pepper in here. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 things here plus pepper. So I give this a little mix. Oh, another thing that I always have put into my house seasoning, I just knew right away because I could see it, was oregano. 2 tablespoons of oregano go into my house seasoning. And I kind of just give this a little bit of motion, some friction, build up a little heat. Now I have a pan that's been sitting on the stove on a very low flame. And I want to get these spices and herbs into this warm, not screeching hot saute pan. And, toss it a little bit. And you can smell everything starting to pop out at you. I'm really happy with this, and we're just 15, 20 seconds back into the pan that it came in. Now, from here, you take this seasoning and you get yourself some rare roast beef, some cold chicken, plain, and you have yourself some pieces of meat. What I've done is I've always taken a piece of fresh mozzarella and cut a slice. I'm going to do that right now. You going to help me eat this? So what I usually like to do is I like to cut some fresh mozzarella because it's a nice background. If you're lactose intolerant, you can use some sauteed mushrooms. They have a lot of flavor, but it'll give you an idea how your seasoning holds up to something that has flavor. Also, you could use some boiled cabbage leaves. I take a little bit of this seasoning now, and I sprinkle it on my cheese, and it has depth and it has flavor. It's a little salty, but that's what seasoning is. You're salt and peppering things, and all these other things just give it a nice harmony. And this is developed for my taste. This is what I used in my restaurant for 16 years, and prior to that for 20 years in all the restaurants I was ever in. This was my house blend, and I sell it as well. But that's how easy it is to make. You get the spices out that you enjoy, and you experiment. I suggest if there's someone else in the house, they write down what you're doing as you do it, or you have a notebook and you write it down as you go, because you'll find that you'll lose track. When I make a seasoning for myself at home, I don't make more than a cup of it, okay? Because I like to keep it fresh. And I only suggest making seasoning mixes for things that you eat quite a bit of. There's two others that I have that I'm going to show you. So, and you put a plastic top on this and you keep it by your board here. And you got your house seasoning that you should use weekly, if not daily. Now, we're going to make pumpkin spice. I like pumpkin spice because, in the fall, you use a lot of it with soups and squash and potatoes and so forth. In my restaurant, when I did vegetarian dishes, I would do anywhere between 14 and 22 items on a Chef's Choice vegetarian. What I was trying to accomplish by doing that was I wanted each vegetable to be differently prepared and seasoned. I wanted the squash to have a little bit of this pumpkin spice. I wanted to char a tomato and give it that char flavor. I was always looking to have all these different flavors, the ways of cooking them different as well. I'd saute mushrooms, I would steam asparagus, I would grill portobellas, I roasted squash, I fried onion rings, sometimes I made an omelet and did a goat cheese caper omelet and surrounded it by risotto and truffle fries or whipped potatoes. It just depended on what the dietary, restrictions were. But my basic pumpkin spice has always been, 4 parts cinnamon. I find that Vietnam cinnamon's a little bit sweeter and stronger. So if you're using Vietnam cinnamon, use 3 parts. But if you're using any of the other cinnamons, it's okay with 4 parts. It's 1 part ground clove, 1 part ground ginger. We've got allspice and half a tablespoon of nutmeg. So 4 cinnamon, 1 ginger, 1 clove, 1 allspice, half a nutmeg. Okay? And that's my pumpkin spice. And you can grind the cloves if you want. You can take ginger like this that's organic and dry and pulverize it in your coffee blender or, a spice blender if you have one. If you can't get it fine enough to this flour consistency, just shake it through a sieve. And that's pumpkin spice. Now, this one I didn't heat up because I ground them today for the show, and I had already done it ahead of time. And I knew I was going to be able to cool them off. Typically you want to grind before you heat the spices because when you activate those oils, it tends to get gummy or sticky if you try to do them when they're hot. So you want to do them when they're cooled off, after you've let them release their essence off. Oh, I wanted to show you while I was at it, what I use for my nutmeg is I have this thing that holds the nutmegs here, and I put the nutmeg in the middle, and I screw my top back on. And there's like this little truffle razor blade, so when you just usually you use nutmeg in a very little, it's just, you don't overdo it. You're always careful with it. I've really loved this nutmeg grinder to do fresh nutmeg. Now the Greek seasoning is pretty simple. Back in the 70s, my cousins at their steakhouse had an option to do a steak Greek style. And it was 3 ingredients. It was garlic salt, 3 tablespoons, so it looks like we had that there. And it was white pepper, and that was 1 part. So we got 3 parts garlic salt, 1 part white pepper, and then we had 3 parts oregano. Now, it was white pepper, garlic salt, and oregano. And this was what they used on the steaks for their Greek style steaks. They'd sprinkle the steak with this on both sides. This is where I started my house seasoning. I had used this seasoning for years for the rotisserie outside and at our family's restaurant. But I wanted to add a tablespoon of lemon pepper. What if we added maybe a teaspoon of dry thyme? Maybe we bring some of that fresh ground black pepper into the mix, and some salt, because ultimately we're looking for a seasoning that's a seasoning, okay? This is going to be used very lightly on chicken for Greek style chicken. You can use this seasoning for lamb. You can use, kebabs, Greek chicken gyros. You can make Greek dressing with this salt, okay? Greek seasoning. All right, I'm going to show you one last one. For barbecue, I like to use mustard seed because a lot of barbecue recipes you read, they spread mustard on the meat. But I like my mustard to come through on the seasoning, the rub mix. So the mustard seeds go in my mortar and pestle. With that, I want to put just a touch of heat in my barbecue. Most delicious, great barbecues only have salt and pepper. So this is what makes it your own, by taking it from salt and pepper and maybe adding a few things that complement the salt and pepper and don't take it over. My daughter, she makes her own barbecue sauce, and starts with tomato, and the sugar she uses is either honey or maple syrup. For my barbecue rub, I'm using brown sugar. Got 2 tablespoons. This would be a great place to put the pumpkin spice, because this has the cinnamon, the clove, the nutmeg, the allspice, the ginger, all those things that I want in my barbecue sauce being like little clouds floating in this one place, just to give me a hint of some warm, savory tones for my barbecue sauce. So, we're going to use a tablespoon of the pumpkin spice. I like my barbecue sauce to be savory as well. I'm going to put a tablespoon of garlic powder. I'm going to put 1/2 tablespoon of the garlic chips. What will happen is when they touch the wet meat, or if they're in a marinade, you'll get a nice soft piece. 1/2 tablespoon onion powder, not salt, and dehydrated onion. I want my barbecue to have a little spice, smoked paprika that's sweet, which we're going to want in there. 1/2 tablespoon, maybe a 1/2 tablespoon of sweet paprika, a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. We'll do 1/2 tablespoon of ground cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of white pepper to give us a little heat. And we're going to want some salt, because that's what normally barbecue is seasoned with, is salt and pepper. So we're going to give this, tablespoon and a half of pepper and a tablespoon and a half of salt. And that's our barbecue blend that we're adding to our mustard seeds and our crushed red chilies. And we're going to give that a mix. You want to try this on a piece of chicken or something, but I'm going to use this mozzarella. One thing I want to add to this, I showed you earlier, I have this smoked salt, a tablespoon of smoked salt in my barbecue spice. I think That's going to add the next level of flavor when you're doing indoor cooking at home and you have this smoke already incorporated into your salt. And you know what happens when you rub down meat or with salt, you're brining. Now you're brining with smoked salt. So now you're going to get another flavor. This is really good. I should sell this one. But I'm not going to because I just taught you how to make it. The point is this. I've got 48 spices, seasonings, salts, and sugars out here. It's only half of my arsenal. If you're looking to make a special seasoning for a special dish that you make frequently, then I suggest making your own house seasoning instead of finding, with Cajun food, there's a lot more paprikas and cayenne pepper. With Asian food, there's ginger, garlic, onion, and not so much the oreganos and thymes. It's sweet. You go with the ethnicity of the culture and use what they're using and adapt it to your tastes and desires. If you like something with a lot of heat, then you have the option to make that. But most of that stuff in the store that you're buying already pre-mixed, you can make yourself. You can make an Indian house seasoning here, which, by the way, I have, this hot curry that's already been pre-mixed by a reputable spice monger. But if I wanted to make my own Indian spice, I have the paprikas, the mustard seeds, the cumin, the cinnamon, the clove, the allspice, the garlic, the onion, the cayenne, the crushed red pepper. Over here I've even got celery seed. Just a pinch of celery seed into this barbecue rub is now going to go give you something else. You've eaten a celery seed dressing on cabbage before. And celery seeds are just really tiny. And this is like a gold mine for vegetarians. If you want to eat the way you want to eat, God bless you. It's healthy eating. But now this gives you a wide range of making something that is just good standing on its own with salt. You can take it to the next level. You can use garam masala, or, allspice and clove and a shaving of nutmeg and, coriander. The combinations are endless. I encourage you to make your own seasoning. And again, don't make them if you're not going to use them. And don't make more than a cup. And doing it this way where you get everything out, whether you pour this back into a container or you leave it covered in a stack so you can just grab it, open it, get what you need and cover it up again. I like to use these, but you want fancy jars and all that, that's good too. The point is don't leave them in the sunlight. Just leave them in a cool, dark area. That's Seasonings 101. And I'm just going to keep this going because I love it. I love teaching. Just a shout out to all my Grateful Dead fans. We lost a legend last week and, now it's really over, but plenty of cover bands out there playing their music. And rest in peace, Bobby. We love you. And I know you're probably jamming with Jerry and Phil right now, so right on. I dig it.